Welcome to the 700 Club. A desperate plea on Capitol Hill yesterday. Families of the hostages held by Hamas were begging for their release.
The terror group still holds 129 people in Gaza, some of them Americans. After more than 3 months, life-saving medicine is finally being sent to help them. Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem.
On October 7th, Hamas kidnapped Sharon Cuneo, her husband David, and their twin 3-year-old girls. Hamas released Sharon and her children, but her husband remains. She remembers the last thing he said to her.
He told me, fight for me, don't give up. Please yell what I can't yell. Please help me to get out. And he told me, I'm scared as hell. That was the last sentence. I'm scared as hell.
On Wednesday, Qatar dispatched 2 planes carrying more than 60 tons of medicine and other aid to Gaza for the hostages and Palestinians. It's the first agreement between Israel and Hamas since November. A senior Hamas official said that for every box of medicine for the hostages, 1,000 boxes will go to Palestinians. However, no word on when or how the medicine would be distributed to the hostages, many of them dependent on the medications.
We will strive and do all the efforts in coordination with Qatar, who are the ones who developed, initiated and are leading this move, to make sure that, as is required everywhere in the world and from international organizations, including the Red Cross, to make sure that the medicines that our abductees need, and they need medicines, reach them.
On Capitol Hill, U.S. senators met with families of the hostages, including U.S. citizens.
Our sons have so much yet to give to the world. We must do everything possible to bring them back. Any deal put forward must include them all. These boys could be your boys. They must be brought home. They cannot be treated as a last priority. They cannot be overlooked.
So we are going to do everything we can. We are going to do everything we can because our hearts are broken, and we must bring them home, all of them.
Many of those hostages are likely held in the labyrinth of tunnels under the Gaza Strip. The IDF says the tunnel system is far bigger than estimated, with as many as 450 miles throughout Gaza. In the meantime, the fate of Sharon's husband, David, and the rest of the hostages remains uncertain.
I cry all day. I just sit around and cry all day, watching videos in all kind of groups, looking for any information about him, watching his pictures on my phone, and hearing his voice messages.
Until then, Sharon Cuneo and the rest of Israel watch and wait. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, let us act. Let's do more than just watch and wait. Let us act. What is happening in Gaza, what Hamas has done, both on October 7th and today, is a war crime. To withhold medical treatment from hostages is a war crime. To take civilians as hostages is a war crime. They're continuing to send rockets into Israel. And in all of this talk of, well, we need a ceasefire and all of these things, Israel has to stop. Let us not ignore, well, they still have the hostages. They're still firing rockets. What do we expect Israel to do? They have to do this. They have to protect their own citizens. All the pressure needs to be on Hamas. So what about Qatar? They've negotiated this deal. They've provided $350 million to Hamas. Could they say no more funding until you lay down your arms, you stop this attack? What can the international community do to cut off their funds, to say no more, you can't use this to build weapons and to build tunnels and to build infrastructure, all in order to attack Israel? This has to stop. That's where the pressure needs to be. It should never be on Israel, the victim of October 7th. Well, in other news, the U.S. is sending a strong message to Iran. Stop arming the Houthi rebels targeting ships in the Red Sea. John Jessup has more on that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
That is right, Gordon. The warning message sent after the United States once again struck Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen. A missile barrage fired from ships and subs yesterday hit 14 launch sites deemed an imminent threat. Meanwhile, military strikes coming out of Iran are raising concerns of growing conflict in the region. In recent days, Iran's Revolutionary Guard has fired missiles at targets linked to the Islamic State in Syria and what it described as Israeli spy headquarters in Iraq. Now, tensions are rising with its neighbor, Pakistan, after Iran carried out deadly strikes against militant groups on Pakistani soil. Pakistan's military responded with targeted attacks on groups inside Iran. Well, turning now to the global church and persecution of Christians worldwide. The annual World Watch List from Open Doors International reports nearly 5,000 Christians died for their faith last year in 2023. Those numbers are likely much higher due to underreporting. The vast majority of the deaths happened in the African nation of Nigeria, where Islamic militants target Christian churches and communities. The list also says nearly 15,000 churches worldwide were attacked or closed. Those numbers fueled by increasing attacks in Nigeria, China, India, Nicaragua, and Ethiopia.